keeping our awareness within, let us listen to these words by Swami Kriyananda ji on the subject of kindness. He writes, "When you can view all human beings as members of your own extended family, your brothers and sisters, mothers, fathers, and children, then you will find wherever you go that love awaits you, welcomes you. It is God who gazes back at you when you behold Him in all. Kindness is the recognition that all are truly our own. Kindness comes not from minding how others feel about us. It comes from the simple understanding that kindness is its own reward, worth giving out to others because the source of so much sweetness in ourselves. For those of broad sympathies, the very universe is home." Let's affirm together, loudly at first. The whole world is my home.
The whole world is my home.
And the human race my family.
And the human race my family.
With God's kindness,
I
embrace all men.
I embrace all men.
Now, in a normal voice, the whole world is my home. And the human race my family.
And the human race my family.
With God's kindness,
With God's kindness,
I embrace all men.
I embrace all men.
Now, whispering these words, but with deep intention, faith, and focus. The whole world is my home. And the human race my family. With God's kindness, I embrace all men. Now silently, for the subconscious mind where the habit patterns reside. The whole world is my home, and the human race my family. With God's kindness, I embrace all men. And one last time, to plant this affirmation into the superconscious mind to make it our daily living reality. The whole world is my home, and the human race my family. With God's kindness, I embrace all men. Inwardly, silently, let us pray. Divine Mother, help me to see that by kindness to others, I attract not only theirs in return, but thy kindness as well. May I be kind to others always. May my kindness act as a channel of thy unselfish love.
Hello everyone, Namaste. Thank you for coming for the satsang. So today's reading is on the best way to worship. The reading is from the book Rays of the One Light, Swami Kriyananda. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. In chapter 4 of the Gospel of St. John, the woman of Samaria asked Jesus, "Where is the best place to worship?" This question might be expanded to include, what is the best church? What is the best religion? Is it important to go on pilgrimage to holy shrines? What is the best ritual? What is the best mantra or prayer? Jesus cut across all such questioning with his reply. The hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. It was not that outer considerations of place, church, ritual, etc. are irrelevant. each person should find those practices and observances which are compatible with his own nature. One might say, with his own vibrations. Not everyone's natural path is the same. God sent different religions into the world to satisfy different human needs. The overarching concern, however, considering that the goal is to find God, is to include in one's worship daily inner communion with the Lord. God is silence. He must be sought, therefore, in inner silence. God is absolute love. He must be sought, therefore, in the silence of love. God is spirit, and thus immaterial. He must be sought above all in the expanding peace of deep meditation. Thus the Bhagavad Gita states in the 6th chapter, sequestered should he sit, steadfastly meditating, solitary, his thoughts controlled, his passions laid away, from every craving for possession freed. Wherever you are, whatever your outward beliefs and observances, seek God in the silence of your own soul. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Well, thank you, Moshmi. And I think this is one of those readings which are very direct. There's hardly any arguing about it. Science has caught up with that fact. Meditation is good for you, has many wonderful medical benefits, physically, mentally, emotionally. If you're physically, mentally, emotionally healthy, a happy person, you are attractive. You have friends. People seek you out. You're happy for yourself. You're happy for others. You make good decisions. As Master, over 100 years ago, he said, reason, our thinking, our decision making follows feeling. If you like something, imagine somebody you really love is not well, and the only cure available is on the other side of the world. What are you going to do once you find out? Well, you will start preparing to go to the other side of the world. And somebody next door to you is not well, but you are not really friends with that person. But you heard through somebody that, so-and-so is not doing well, they could use some money and time and advice. And you're like, well, I'll pray about it. Or I'll think about it. Why? And Swami says, within us is this switch which, can activate us into doing some action, but really first summoning an enormous amount of divine energy, grace. When you like something or somebody, you always have time for those things. You always have energy to do those things. And if you don't, then your decision making. So reason, Master said, follows your feeling. Now, in the beginning, people say, well, now that biology has proven that, what's wrong with me having some likes and dislikes? It's a little bit like Bhishma. What's wrong with fighting with Krishna and the Pandavas? Let's go to war. Well, what we don't realize it, like many years ago, somebody told me I had come on the path and they were counseling me. They're like, and really, you don't have to leave family, job and things which happened to be my dharma in the moment I did that, but people were counseling, you don't really have to do that. And I said, I agree, but I feel like doing that. And they said, but see, you must be good, but you mustn't be too good. Have you heard that before? In Hindi, sometimes they'll say, ati har cheez ki buri hoti hai. That don't be. Now, maybe there is wisdom in that, but don't be too good. Well, in the beginning, it feels practical and a good advice, but it's a disastrous advice for anybody who wants to find God, because what this so-called well-wisher has done is taken the last step out of the ladder which is going to take you to omnipresence, which is going to take you to God. Because ultimately, if there is a God, if there is a creator, we all have come from him. Friends and family have come from him. This world has come, our gifts, our talents and job. And as challenging as it may seem, what's really going on is he's trying to figure out, do you really love me? Or do you love the things that I am sending you? And in the beginning, we are in love with the things because we don't know there was a creator. But once you find out there's a creator, Master said, it's a little bit like a thief. He's happy doing pickpocketing. But one day, sitting in his room, he hears that his neighbor has a lot of gold and is planning to go on vacation. And Master said, imagine how this thief must be waiting for night for this person to take his flight, train, whatever it be. And Master says, that's how you must feel when night is coming, because now the treasure of God is not too far. It's right here. It's right here. It's in your own house. Like that reading said, where is it? How do we find it? Well, don't worry. It's right here. And Master said, but are you hungry? Those who are hungry will go wherever they have to go. Swami used to say, he said, there are people nowadays, of course, when Swami was saying, I don't think there were such popular YouTube channels, but now there are all sorts of YouTube channels. And especially if you see some people who are foodies. Now, I'm a foodie, but I don't have, and thank God I don't have the money to fly around the world. But some people do. It's their job or their passion, and they book a seat on the other side of the world in some restaurant. They'll fly, they'll eat, and they'll, of course, break down what happened, how was it worth it. And Swami used to say that if you are hungry, you will go and line up in the best restaurant in the world because you are hungry. And people who live next door to it, they're like, what's this whole fuss about Italian food or this Indian restaurant? What's wrong with these people? Nothing's wrong. They are just hungry. And so it is when you tell somebody, I want God. They're like, now we should be good. You get an extra O over there. But don't go for God. Leave him alone. Well, God is happy to be alone, except we won't be happy. So if you take that final step of goodness away, it's a little bit like a child. You take a child, and parents do this all the time. They toss them. I've always seen that game, like what's going on. But look at the child. How is the child feeling? Just wonderful. They'll say, if they can speak, they'll say once again, one more time. I remember there was a devotee whose son used to ask me to do that. Till after some years, I told him, look, friend, you have grown now. I can't even lift you. Forget tossing you. And I said, I am aging. So he said, but one more time. I said, I can't. But anyway, the thrill over there is that I trust you. Just toss me up and catch me. And Swami said, that's how the supermen, spiritual superwomen, call them whatever, will be born. Those who you have developed familiarity with God to such a point that you say, now I'm ready for the leap. But don't wait too long. Once you know He's there, Swami says, make the leap. Leap of, I'll meditate longer. Like Master said, he would tell himself, yes, I'll meditate long tomorrow. Tomorrow. And one day Master said he realized 1 year had gone by. And he said that long time and the ideal circumstance for long meditation had not come. And Master said, I haven't meditated in 1 year. And this mind said, from tomorrow you should start. And Master says, no, right now. I'll actually tell you a story. Right here in Pune, Ananda, the great saint, had lived, and she had a couple who were her followers, disciples. And one day, Ma was sitting with some of her disciples, and this couple came, and one of the more advanced disciples told the husband, he said, I think you should start doing something like, 20,000 japas from today. And that's the number of japas they would do in some very rare circumstances where you stay awake all day, 24 hours, and it's a certain way in which you do it. And this gentleman looked at Anandamayi Ma, what will she say? And she was just smiling. So she didn't say no. So he said, okay, I'll do that. And they worked all day. 10 p.m. they reached home. And he told me this story when we were sitting there with Jyotish and Deviji some years ago in Pune. And he said that I reached home and I just couldn't shake off that command. And he said, I asked my wife, what a strange request he made today. And he said, I wonder how we're going to do this. But he said, anyway, we'll think about it tomorrow. And she said, no. He said, from today. And he said, how can we do it today? We are tired and 4 a.m. we have to meet Anand Mohima. They used to serve her all day. And she said, I don't know. But Ma didn't say no. And he said, we should do it. Let's do it. He said, okay. And then he chuckled. He started laughing. And he told Jyotishji, he said, don't ask me how this happened. But by the time I finished those 20,000, I think that was the number, japa, it was 3:45. I took a bath and I went and served Ma. Next day, that teacher told him, do it again and keep doing it till I tell you not to. And he said, we did it for 1 full week. And he says, again, don't ask me how I managed to sleep because I didn't sleep. And he says, this was the grace of the Guru. Now that's a very exceptional example right here in modern times. But the point is, remember Master, when he had worked to feed, I think 200 or 2,000 people, and that night Sri Yukteswarji gave him the rare privilege. He said, Mukunda, tonight you can sleep in my room. And Master was so honored and happy, and late night, close to midnight, they both lay down, and Master is thanking his stars. He's so happy for the event that went well, and he's resting with his Guru. And just then Sri Yukteswar got up. He said, Mukunda, I think some people who had to come in the day missed their train and couldn't come. They must be arriving. I think they'll arrive at 1 a.m. Come, let's go and make food for them. And Sri Yukteswar, I don't think he used to hang around too much. He started moving towards the kitchen, and Master said, Sir, I don't think anybody will come at 1 a.m. And Sri Yukteswar said, I understand, you're tired. You worked very hard in this week. He said, you sleep, I'll go and cook. Well, Master jumped out, and Master is still thinking. It's such an interesting leela that nobody will come. And they're chopping and cooking. And just when the food was ready, there was a knock on the door. Some devotees came. They said, Sri Yukteswar ji, we missed our train, but we really just wanted to see you. We don't want to take your time. And he said, oh no, Mukunda and I were expecting you. We've made all this food for you. And he said he gave them time. They met, and when they left, they retired. And Master said, Master of course was embarrassed and saddened. And he said, Sir, I'm so sorry I doubted you. And Sri Yukteswar said, no, that's fine. But he said, but Mukunda, tonight you have overcome the fear of hard work. You shall never know fatigue in your life. I, as a doctor, I can't understand how that blessing translates. And I'll read something, a book, a letter, how much Master, actually I'll read it right now since the moment is ripe, how much Master used to work. This is a book, I'll make it available in our library over here. It was a limited edition of letters of Yogananda ji to his disciple, second most advanced disciple, Acharya Oliver Black. And so a friend gifted me this book in my travel now. So look at this. Master writes a letter. I'll just read the headline. I'm so busy these days, I hardly know my own name. This is Yogananda ji saying it. I read that. He said, I'm so busy these days, I hardly know my own name. And then, of course, he explains it. You can read that letter. But anyway, where does one get that level of strength, that kind of a blessing, that quality like Hanuman or Swami Kriyananda ji? I saw him at the age of 85, working till 3:30 in the morning. Lights are on. I know 7 a.m. he has a meeting because I'm getting a guest to see him. I show up and he gives 2 hours to this guest. And he says, I've been writing, and it's like, where is all this? How is this happening? Humanly, you see, when these things happen, you realize humanly this is not possible. Swami Kriyananda ji was a man who meditated. And what's really happening in meditation? We start on an egoic level, you might say, a self level. I want to meditate. I want my health to improve, my concentration, my energy, my focus to improve, and that's good. But the more we start meditating, Swami Kriyananda ji said, if your attitude is right, you see that the ego starts effacing, starts going away. And he said, like Master said to one monk, he said, today you're not able to meditate. This boy was complaining. He said, I can't meditate, sir, today. Master said, it's okay. Go and work in the garden. I'll meditate for you. And he said, but remember, Today you're not able to meditate, but a time will come in your life where you will not be able to come out of meditation easily. Because meditation, really what's happening is, it's a communication. You are getting the body out of the way by taking care of the tensions. You are getting the breath out of the way, the restlessness out of the way. Finally, as Bhishma did, after that huge battle of going back and forth, you are ready to surrender your egoic will. And Kriyananda ji said, when that ego gets out of the way, to the degree the ego gets out of the way, you have finally created space for God to come in. And the yogi starts realizing, I didn't do it. God is the doer. And so that suggestion that sit in a place, do your pranayam practice, call to the masters, pray with them, meditate with them, and bit by bit, it takes incarnations, to be honest. That's what we are all after. But we start realizing that ultimately the delusion that I am doing it versus God is doing it is cleared, and we realize more and more that God is the doer. Now, this is also the week of Swami Kriyanandaji's 99th birth anniversary year. And there was a time he was taking a seclusion. I hope, we all do that once a year. Few days, a week, ideally 2 weeks, Master said, longer meditations and sadhana and being with God, as he put it. But Swamiji was in Kashmir, and somebody very sweetly wrote to him, Swamiji, please write. This was the time when you would write letters, or I think they were even on a phone call. They said, Swamiji, what time are you meditating? Please let us know. We will also join in spirit at the same time from here, from America. And Swami said, you can join me anytime, except for sleeping a few hours, I'm meditating. And that was about 16 hours a day. But again, in the beginning, it looks hard. You have to prepare the body for that. But Swami says, once you taste God, why would you want to come out of meditation? Now, the only reason you and I would want to come out of it is our Guru told us that we must share these teachings. What you taste in meditation, let's say peace, it starts reflecting in how you talk to people, creativity, love for people. It translates. When you love somebody, you say, what can I do for you? No matter what, you're a banker, you're a doctor, you are whoever, you want to serve. I'll show you some pictures of people. We have this perception sometimes, and unfortunately in India, that a Swami or a high spiritual teacher should not do so-called low job. It's not like that at all. What can be low in the eyes of God? One of our teachers, one of our devotees from Pune went to Ananda Village many years ago, and their toilet was not working. So they naturally called in the reception, my bathroom is not working. And a person was sent. They fixed the bathroom. And few hours later, they had a yoga class. So this person is thinking that I think I've seen this yoga teacher somewhere, but they couldn't figure out, and they do the yoga class. And then at dinner, they're all sitting together. So this person they said, this yoga class was good, but I feel like we've met before. He said, of course, we met this morning when I came to your house. She said, you're the plumber who came to fix the commode? He said, of course. She said, no, you should have told me you're a Nayaswami. You should not have touched the bathroom. And he said, why? That's my skill. I'm a plumber also. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a plumber. I am a Swami. But then this misconception that this I will do and this I will not do, that's not right. Padre Pio, when his mother passed away, he sat by her grave for 72 hours straight, praying and meditating for her soul. Remarkable. Who can provide such service? We say, I can't come to the satsang because of my family, my friends, and this and that. What are you really serving? But a person who has that kind of spiritual muscle I'm sure he did a lot of good to his mother over there. So he was able to meditate that way. On the other hand, his church was the busiest post office in the entire world during World War II. Big nations, the whole world was fighting each other. You would think America or some country was getting the maximum number of letters. No, it was San Giovanni Rotondo in Italy, where Padre Pio had his church and monastery. That place had the maximum number of letters coming to it, and he was awake night and day with an army of monks, reading, replying, praying. Where does that energy come from? It's not humanly generated. So again, now, lest we get afraid of these examples of Hanuman, Swamiji and Padre Pio, remember, Swami used to say, if Master could do it, he was trying to show us we can do it. And he said, each in our own way, meditating, coming here, keeping this place open. This morning I did a class, I came out, and one of my next door neighbors from where I used to stay earlier, he started a how to meditate class. I said, wow, who's your teacher? He said, oh, Ashwini is my teacher. Now, you put out energy, people start coming. You open a center, people start coming. You start offering yoga, people start coming. You know, the world is not in a very safe spot right now. And I'm sure when you read the news, you think, what can I do about it? Padre Pio was once giving a sermon in his church, and 5 bomber flights, aeroplanes were sent from Germany to bomb Pietrelcina or San Giovanni Rotondo, one of the 2 places. I think it was Pietrelcina, his birthplace. And the pilot who was heading this fleet of flights, he said, in the middle of the flight, the clouds, a monk appeared with brown clothes. He raised his hand like this. He shook his head. And he said when he raised his hand like this, the propeller stopped moving. And this man was quite grateful that the plane was not falling. And he just said, go back. And they had to return. And when they returned, they said, why did you come without bombing the place? He said, this is what happened. Nobody believed him. But he said, I am going to that place now on foot to find out. And he went there. And the moment he entered that church, and you can still go and see that church, Padre Pio was talking to some people, and the moment the door opened, he looked at this man and he said to everybody, this man was going to bomb our Pietrelcina today. But you see, he was not angry. That man became his disciple. So when we are talking of God is love, God is silence, God is everywhere, yes, God is there. But Swami used to say, are we only going to say that the masters will do something, or are you going to do something about it? When I first came to the monastery, right there in our first meeting, Swami was talking about India, China, Pakistan war, nuclear war. And I was like, wow, this is an interesting discussion between monks and a Swami. And then Swami said, it would be a shame to see you with guns in those times. I would like to see you all serve as instruments of light, standing by your principles and channeling Master's light. Now that is not just for us, it's for all of us. It's ideally for everybody, but the world being what it is, there are only, like Master says, Christ has only so many friends. So give this really a thought, friends, because I'm sure this is crossing your mind. What can I do about these things? There's a lot you can do. You may not be able to see it, and that's not important, but that you're feeling and doing something about it, that is important. I read a true story of a person, who had met with an accident, really bad accident in America. There's a book about it. I forget its name right now. And this led to a jam on the expressway, on the freeway. And there are many people, when there's a jam, you're getting exasperated. So this one lady was really getting angry. And when she finally reached that bottleneck, she realized, it's an ambulance and somebody's body's totaled almost. And she felt very bad, and she just let out a prayer, and she kind of moved on. Well, 3 months later, somebody knocked on her door. There was a young boy, on crutches and a bouquet of flowers, and she said, yes. And he said, I have come to thank you, ma'am. She said, I'm sorry, I have never met you, I don't know you. He said, remember that accident on that freeway that evening? She said, I do. He said, I'm the young man who was on the ground. And he said, it was such a bad accident, I had given up, I had come out of the body, and Yogananda explains this. He said, the astral body comes out and all. And he said, I had no will to go back into that broken physical form. But just when I was about to give up and die, a strong ray of light came from your car. And it was so strong that I got the courage to unite my light and I went back in the body. And he said, when I went back in the body, I remember seeing your number plate. And that's the only thing I was remembering. And he says, through your car's number plate, I found you and I have come to thank you for saving my life. Now imagine a person who had maybe no formal prayer, had to pray in the moment at least. If we can move, Master said, if you can rouse the life force to that degree, then such is the effect. Now she didn't know. So it's not important, Master said, for you to know. But the more important thing is, are you doing something about what you are seeing? And how is it helping you grow? Keep that in mind. This friend of Swamiji who asked Padre Pio this question, because outwardly we do different practices, mantra, japa, as Maushami was reading, I'm in a temple, you go to a mosque, he goes to a church. Okay, there has to be a different language, definition of place and what not. But at the heart of it, this man, it's the same thing. So this man asked Padre Pio, he said, Father, he was feeling guilty. And Padre Pio used to offer, confessions. So this man goes up to him and just as a little test, he drops the first question. He said, Father, I practice Kriya Yoga. This is back in 1960s. And Padre Pio said to him, shh, that's a very nice thing you are doing. But don't talk about it too openly. People wouldn't understand. Kriya Yoga is a very ancient science. The parallels of Kriya Yoga it's a pranayam. It's a very ancient pranayam. It is to be found in the Old Testament, in Patanjali's teachings, in the Bhagavad Gita. It is how you and I are made. So that is one example. But so it is with prayer. So it is with meditation, that we start sometimes even on two different sides, but as we start coming closer and closer, you start seeing so many others are climbing in their own way, and we are all reaching that same destination, and that is the goal. So in our daily sadhana, let's take this resolve, that what are we meditating for? How are we bringing it into our daily life? Because that was very important. Swami Kriyanandaji wanted to be a hermit. And Master said to him, you better learn to like this work that I'm giving you, which was enormously outward work. He says, because that's what you're going to have to do. And now you see how much has happened. I'll share through these photos right now. In Europe, we have 107 centers and meditation groups now. 107. It started with one in 1985. America, so many. South America, India, Swami started with one. By the time he left his body, in 10 years in India, there were 4. Now we have 20. 14 centers, 5 to 6 meditation groups, online communities. Bhavani is in China. I'll be in Russia in another week. It's just enormous what's happening. And this is happening world over. So again, keep that in mind. It's just the resolve one person can put and a group of people. Swami used to say, often we look around, we say, well, most people are not thinking like this. Swami says that's always been the case. It requires few people who really understand that they want God, that God is real for them, they live in Him, and they can channel Him. And he says that is how you do God's will and you help other people. Isn't that wonderful to live that way? So now we'll see some pictures of how Swamiji brought these things into manifestation. This is a little bit from my travel on the East Coast, then in California. And just to give you an idea, I was calculating, I have been in 40 cities this year. That is, every 4th day I was in a new city where I spent at least a night. So it's very interesting. Last time, before going to the US, I was jet lagged in India alone, I thought, because I was in 27 cities. And then I went to the US, I thought I'm going to Ananda Village, but as it turned out, some requests came, some other things happened. We'll start the slideshow now. So I've just collected some pictures. This is the garden outside Swamiji's Crystal Hermitage, and I just wanted to share over here just the diversity, the nationalities that come together, and people from Germany, China, Spain, of course, India, America, and yeah. Now this is wonderful. These are all our Kriyabans in China that last year, this is a picture from last year, And again, in 2014, these are not normal times. In 2014, Mahavatar Babaji and Lahari Mahashaya came in the dream of a person over there who was not even a devotee. And they spoke in Mandarin. They said, "We want you to help with the teachings of Kriya, spread of Kriya Yoga in China." Jayaji started going. For 9 years he went. He's gone to 14 different cities. Just look at this. This is one weekend retreat on the East Coast in our church in Rhode Island, which again was started by Nayaswami Jayaji in the early 2000s. This is a retreat we had over there, and again, people from all parts of the East Coast. This is the Expanding Light retreat. And again, Master's teachings are so wonderful. They attract children. That's a 9-year-old. She was so much in love with Divine Mother that I had this very precious little Divine Mother, wooden Divine Mother I used to, and precious not financially, just close to my heart. It would just fit in your hand. So I carried it in my pocket for many years, and she was like, "Oh, I just love God, and how can I think of Him more?" And I just felt this voice say, "Give it, don't be attached." So I said, "Here you go." And she was so happy all those 3 days. Her mother said she's sleeping with it, she's talking to that statue. And so again, you can see people from all over coming for such programs. Now, that is Nayaswami Prakash next to me. A founding member, came in 1969 or 70, I believe, was Swamiji's, one of his earliest secretaries, came from a wonderful, very wealthy family, was a professor actually of English literature, and came and met Swamiji, and of course, served, has been serving all these decades. But the interesting thing is, this is a good example of a Nayaswami or a Swami or a monk doing something interesting. One day, Swami was giving a talk, and he said, "We have these 800 acres over here, but they are jungle-like." He said, "It would be nice if they developed a park-like quality. Landscaping hundreds of acres, taking down trees, planting gardens, moving earth, soil." And Prakash ji came out of that satsang. He bought a bulldozer, a JCB, a tractor, other small equipment. And that was 45 years ago, 45 years ago. Every single day, snow, rain, heat, to this day, he's out there doing his morning sadhana, evening sadhana, and service in the day. So just beautiful example, and I always enjoy meeting him. That's Panduranga ji and his wife. And Panduranga, that behind us, what you don't see in this photo, but there's another one, is the Temple of Light, the way Swami envisioned Ananda temples to be. So he helped build the Moksha Mandir, which is on those lines, the Temple of Light, and now he's helping the monks in India to build the first Temple of Light in Panchkula, where they have some land. So anyway, I had a nice satsang and meeting with them. But again, you can see he's an architect, for example, and a musician. Now, this picture is also very close to my heart, the next one. This is Nayaswami Gloria. I met her in her office. I called her. I said, "I'd like to meet you." She said, "Come to the office." She's 94 years old. She energizes every day, twice a day. She shows up for meditations every day, in group meditations, and she goes to the office every day. I said, "I'll meet you in the office and take a picture with you." And of course, I took her blessing. She gave me a very precious thing. She was very close friends with Nayaswami Seva. Many of you may have heard of her. Swamiji called her, along with Jyotish ji, her right-hand people when he was starting Ananda. So she gave me a little box that Seva ji had given her. This has some vibhuti. So today, in the end, we'll do a blessing using this. So anyway, such just great souls, over there. This is again Nayaswami Trimurti ji, has overseen the area, the Karma Yoga, for close to 20-25 years. And again, it is God you are serving. It's not about the electrical project. It's not about the floor. It's not about the food. It's God, God, God. It's God in people. And for somebody to be imbued with that kind of spirit, you can see when somebody does that for 30, 40 years, what we come out as. And again, he has trained many, many other people in that field of area of Karma Yoga. So again, I enjoy meeting him. Sagar, who was with us in Pune for many, many years, and of course Shankara and Vasudeva on the far right, to your right, they live in India, but the others are the monks in Ananda Village, and it was Sagar and Prashad, who is next to him in yellow. It was their birthdays, all both in 1 week, so we had gone out for a dinner, all of us. This is Nevada City. Now, this is again so sweet and beautiful. You know, this Ananda Village is a place everybody must go and see. I mean, think of a Vedic village. When you see paintings of Indian Vedic villages, what do you see? It's a beautiful big area, small dwellings here and there, lots of open space, gardens, deer moving around, people meditating, doing their work very happily. I opened my window one morning. You can see those strings. I opened the window and this guy was sitting there meditating. Or I was like, he's more peaceful than me. And he's not fazed, and it was so sweet. And there are hundreds of them, because they are not, of course, hunted in Ananda. So they come, they live there happily. And not just this, it reflects in everything. This was our center leaders meeting once a year, center leaders coming from all over the world. And remember, friends, you know, Ananda is a decentralized work. So what you and I may see in Pune is, of course, the Pune chapter, you may say. But Kriyananda ji envisioned and has created a worldwide work. Like I said, there are 107 centers in Europe alone. So keep these things in your prayer. If you're the curious kind, go online, subscribe to their channels. You know, Swami said when you pray for somebody, it's good to have a photo of their eyes open. You can pray. I'll give you one example and then we'll move forward, otherwise I could keep speaking. The gentleman on the very far right next to Vasudeva, who's in the yellow jacket, he's a man of Indian origin. Now, Murali is part of a project. Keep him in your daily prayers. Like I said, the power of that lady's prayer who prayed for that one man. Murali is writing the script for autobiography of a yogi to come on something like Netflix or Amazon Prime worldwide. Hold him in the light. Send him your blessings and support. And when that happens in about 1.5 to 2 years, you can just imagine how many people will find out about Master, about Ananda and our centers. So again, just everybody, we meet once a year, people share the different things that are happening in their centers. We also gave an India update and such. I was coming from Swami's house one of those days after meeting Jyotish and Deviji, and I had offered a prayer for everybody over there. And of course, you know, you pray to the masters, the prayer goes to them. But when I came on the other side of the property, I saw this rainbow and I said, oh, that's so sweet. Once in a while when Divine Mother surprises you that I got your mail, kind of a thing. So I wanted to share it with you all. These are some pictures of the property. That's the Temple of Light. And again, next year is Swami Kriyanandaji's 100th birth anniversary year, the centennial. People are coming, record number of people are coming from around the world. And we won't even fit in that temple. We'll have to be outside and all that. So, but anyway, and you know, I'll share just this one thing about this temple. We talked about love, God's love in that reading Maushmi was doing. Swami Kriyanandaji wanted this temple in 1970. And so they gathered the money, people naturally gave. And around that time, an outreach was happening. And Swami says, I feel we should give it for this outreach because Master wanted the teachings to also spread. Now this happened 5 to 6 times. I'm making a very long story short. Swami gave money to Sacramento, Palo Alto, Italy. He gave a huge part of the money that was raised for this temple many decades ago, 2 decades ago, to start India's work. And then finally, when Swami left his body, everybody came together and they said, Swami did all this for us and helped us get started. We are going to come together. And so Temple of Light was finally blessed in 2019. But you can again go back in this week of his birth and so many stories have been shared about him. But remember, Master said to another monk, he said, you have no idea what you have in Kriyananda. One day, millions will come to us because of him. Because Swami said, even in the first meeting, he said to Master, I have not come here for what I can get from you, Master. I have come here to give. And like Christ said, it is in the giving that you receive. So Swami had that enormous ability again and again to give for, of course, Master's work, but you and I are a product of that giving. Okay, I think we have only a few more pictures remaining. This is the inside. Then again, of the temple, the main dome. Then you'll see these are the pictures of the tulips, which again, Swami, many years ago, I didn't go to the cities nearby too much. I went thrice. And what are the chances? In 3 visits, I met 4 people who knew Ananda Village due to the tulips. And people not related to Ananda, not meditators. But I would just say, they say, oh, you're from Ananda? We have seen your tulips. We come to the tulips. What a beautiful garden you've created. And again, this was Swami's way of giving. And many years ago, each tulip, we plant 20,000 every year. And Swami it took him years to inspire people. He said, if we create a beautiful garden over here, people will come. They will enjoy. They'll be more open to us. So Ananda, what communication and meetings cannot do sometimes for, I don't know, harmony and public relations, these beautiful tulips have done that. Every year we plant them, they come out in April. Okay, so let's take a moment to assimilate these thoughts and points. The suggestion of daily seeking God in our meditations, then channeling Him through all our activities. And that spirit of kindness with which we can approach one another and everyone. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. There were 3 ladies who run the gallery, so they asked me, where are you from? I said, I'm from India. And one of them said, oh, India, that's the one place I really want to go. So I said, okay. I said, any particular place in India? She said, Banaras. So I knew there's a spiritual connection. So I said, Banaras? I said, what about Banaras? She said, oh, the spirituality. And she said, my yoga teacher is from Kolkata. I said, my guru is from Kolkata. I said, now I hold back. And she said, what's his name? I said, Paramhans Yogananda. And she said, of course, I am from the lineage of Sri Yukteswarji. And we just burst into, she said, are you a Kriyaban? I'm a Kriyaban. And what do you do? And anyway, her other friends were watching, and here we were meeting. Then I told her we have a center like just over there where she has started going. So anyway, these were in the art gallery, and I was looking around. Then she came up to me and she said, my friend has taken these pictures. Why don't you take one of them? So I picked this one. I told her to write a little note, and she's an American lady, and she wrote us such a sweet note. She says, Namaskaram Aditya, Om, Hari Om, Jai Gurudev. I mean, this is all in this remote coastal town. Wishing you all the best always. Pranamami, Cynthia Smith. So then I got another frame I wanted to buy, and she didn't let me buy. She said, no, that is also a gift. But just such sweet things you see when they happen. So anyway, I wanted to share it with all of you.